How many times have you been in a conversation where you know you're hearing the words, but you're just not feeling connected? Or worse, a simple discussion suddenly spirals into a full-blown argument, and you're left wondering how it even happened. You try to explain your point, they try to explain theirs, and it's like two radios broadcasting on different frequencies. Nobody is actually receiving the signal. If this feels familiar, you are not alone. This is the most common communication breakdown there is. But what if I told you there is a single, learnable skill that can short-circuit this cycle almost every time? A skill that can transform a shouting match into a dialogue, and defensiveness into collaboration. That skill is active listening. And today, we are going to master it together. This isn't just a soft skill, it's a strategic tool for de-escalation, a foundation for trust, and the absolute bedrock of building any kind of bridge. So, let's be clear about what active listening is not. It is not just waiting for your turn to talk. It is not silently planning your rebuttal while the other person is speaking. And it is certainly not just nodding along until you can interject with your own story. These are the things we all do instinctively, and they are the very engines of miscommunication. True active listening is an intentional, disciplined practice. It is the process of fully focusing on, understanding, and responding to another person with the primary goal of comprehending their message and, more importantly, the feelings and needs behind that message. It's about making the other person feel heard, which is one of the most profound human needs there is. When people feel genuinely heard, their physiological state changes. The heart rate can slow, the defensive posture can soften. You are quite literally changing the chemistry of the conversation from one of threat to one of safety. Let's break down the practical framework. Think of active listening as a 5-part system that you can practice and master. The first part is all about your full attention. This is the non-negotiable foundation. That means putting away your phone, turning off the TV, and making eye contact. It means facing the person squarely and adopting an open posture. Your body language is the first message you send, and it says, "You have my complete focus." This alone is more powerful than most people realize. The second part is the art of the pause. After the person finishes speaking, resist the urge to jump in immediately. Allow for a moment of silence. This gives them space to add more if they wish, and it shows that you are actually processing what they said, not just waiting for them to stop. It signals respect and thoughtfulness. The third, and perhaps most powerful, component is the paraphrase. This is where the magic happens. After you have listened, you simply restate in your own words what you heard them say. This is not about parroting them. It's about checking for understanding. You use phrases like, "So, if I'm hearing you correctly, you feel," or "Let me see if I understand this." You're saying that. This does two critical things. First, it ensures you are actually on the same page and haven't misinterpreted their words. Second, and most importantly, it makes the speaker feel profoundly validated. They think, "Wow, this person is really trying to get it." The fourth element is to seek the feeling and the need. Often, the content of the words is just the surface. Your job as an active listener is to listen for the emotion and the underlying need. You might say, "It sounds like you felt really frustrated when that happened, because you need to feel respected." When you accurately name an emotion and a need, it's like unlocking a door. You've connected with the core of their experience. Finally, the fifth part is asking open-ended questions. Instead of questions that can be answered with a yes or no, which can shut down the conversation, you ask questions that invite exploration. Ask, "What was that like for you?" Or "Can you help me understand more about that?" Or "What is the most important thing here for you?" These questions demonstrate genuine curiosity and keep the dialogue moving forward in a productive way. Now, as with any powerful tool, there are common mistakes to avoid. The biggest one is turning the paraphrase into a weapon. Using a sarcastic tone and saying, "So, what you're saying is that everything is my fault," is the opposite of active listening and will destroy trust instantly. Another mistake is trying to problem solve too quickly. When someone is upset, they often don't want you to fix it. they want you to understand it. Jumping in with solutions before you've done the work of understanding can feel dismissive. Your first and most important job is to understand, not to solve. Let me give you an expert mediation tip to take this even deeper. In professional mediation, we use a technique called looping for understanding. You continue to paraphrase and check in with the speaker until they look at you and say, "Yes." That's exactly it. You finally get it. That moment is the turning point in the conflict. You have successfully looped from misunderstanding to understanding. Only when you have reached that point of confirmed understanding is it even possible to begin problem solving effectively. Any attempt before that is just building on a foundation of sand. I also want to address the psychological principle at play here. When you practice active listening, you are essentially holding up a mirror to the other person's internal world. You are giving them the gift of seeing themselves and their experience reflected back in a calm, non-judgmental way. This act of mirroring is a core component of secure attachment and psychological safety. It tells the person, your reality is valid, and I am here with you in it. This is how trust is built, brick by brick. So, how do you start practicing this? I want you to think of a low-stakes conversation you'll have today, maybe with a coworker, a friend, or your child. Go into that conversation with the single goal of practicing just one part of this framework. Maybe your goal is to use two paraphrases. Maybe your goal is to ask 3 open-ended questions. Don't put pressure on yourself to get it perfect. Just practice. Notice how it changes the flow of the conversation. Notice how it makes you feel more engaged and less reactive. This is a muscle, and it gets stronger with repetition. In conclusion, active listening is not a trick or a manipulation. It is a practice of profound respect. It is the practical application of empathy. It is the first and most important step in de-escalating any argument because it addresses the root cause of escalation, the fear of not being heard and understood. So, my call to action for you is this: in the comments below, I want you to share one insight you've had about your own listening habits. What is one thing you typically do that you now realize might be shutting down dialogue? By sharing it, you solidify your own learning and contribute to our community's growth. And as always, I must include this essential note. While these communication skills are powerful for improving relationships and managing everyday conflict, they are not a substitute for professional help in situations of deep trauma, abuse, or severe mental health crises. If you are in a situation that feels unsafe or beyond your capacity, please seek support from a licensed therapist or counselor. Your well-being is the most important bridge you will ever build. Thank you for listening. I am Habila, the Bridge Builder, and I look forward to hearing about your journey.